Welcome back to
The
the
Home
Home
Care
Care
and
and
Assisted
Assisted
Living
Living
Business
Business
Series
Series podcast,
podcast.
hosted by me, Alan Cheney. Today we're going to discuss a few things about caregivers and the importance of finding good ones, keeping good ones, and avoiding the rest. The the cornerstone of home care and pretty much assisted living is caregivers. These are like the most important people in your business. If you don't get this right, you won't last long, and it's really hard, especially in this climate of this shortage that we're experiencing in the industry, the caregiver shortage. It's really hard to find great caregivers, and it can even be more complicated keeping them. So it's a lot of people out there that do provide, our caregivers, or what them call CNAs or home health aides, or GNAs. It's a whole bunch of different terms, but they're all really basically people who care for seniors, and do the day-to-day activities with seniors. And these caregivers, um, there are a lot out there. There's some good ones and there's a lot of bad ones. So, and I don't really hold my tongue about the bad ones, because the bad ones know they're bad, because they had some training, and they should understand the good from the bad when it comes to caring for seniors and putting the seniors first. And if you're doing this job, you should be ready to put this job first, and the lives of these seniors that you are responsible for these blocks of time, um, should be serious. And we've been around for a while, so we've been through countless caregivers. I don't even know the number would be astronomical, if I sat back and tried to add up all the caregivers that we've hired and had to let go. But what's easy is, knowing the difference between a good one and a bad one. And how you usually, in the beginning, okay, it's the recruitment process is when how do you find good caregivers. The best the I'm gonna give you the top few ways that we find great caregivers. And the best way, where we find our most, the caregivers that we appreciate the most, that do the best work, are usually from referrals from other good caregivers. Don't get it twisted. If someone is bad, is not a great caregiver, and they give you a referral, chances are that's going to be not a great caregiver as well. So we only take referrals from great caregivers, um, and that's as far as we're going to go with referrals. You can, everyone knows somebody who has a who does caregiving, but everybody doesn't move in the same network, and operate. Everybody doesn't operate the same as in different circles. So if one of my caregivers has been with us for multiple years, has a referral, and I'm always asking them for a referral. We also compensate them for referrals. Um, they usually bring people who are similar to them, or even better. And if they may not be as experienced, they might experience and bad work ethic are two different things. So some of them may not have the experience that the caregiver has referred, but she's a great caregiver. And this one isn't as experienced, but she has the ability to be great, because she enjoys the work, and she's interested in being helpful and being around and being in this business for a while, and it's fulfilling to her, um, or that particular caregiver. That's what you're gonna see. And these are some of the things that you have to look for. Is this work fulfilling to this particular caregiver? Regardless of their experience, they can learn how to be a better caregiver. But if it's not fulfilling to them, or if they're not, very interested in the caregiving process and taking care of seniors, and they really have a passion for it, then they're not going to be great. There's a lot of people who just feel like they can get a go to like a 6 week program, become a CNA, get your CNA certificate, or become a home health aide. It's a low it's a the barrier of entry is pretty low for caregivers. So it's a job that a lot of people, usually younger females get, because it's just an easy, like I said, it's a low barrier of entry. You can get a certificate, do a 6 week, 8 week training, get a certificate, and you can start, and then you can work, and you're a certified uh, nurse's assistant, or a home health aide with a certification. So they shop these no they shop these certifications around as if they want to do it, but it's just something they did so they can get a quick job and make some money, and they're not really their head's not really in the game, and you have to be able to peep this out early. You have to be able to detect this. But it's nothing that's super hard, but you have to know the signs and know what to look for. Another um, top recruitment strategy is Indeed.com. Indeed is a great place to post job positions. I use it all the time to um, find 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 caregivers, staff, different so like my community liaisons, nurses, if I need a new sign person, like everything that I'm doing, if I need, for sales, anything that we're doing for like little quick contracts, we'll go to Indeed for people on there to fill these positions. We usually we get we run ads all day every day. So let me just make this clear. We have ads on because of the caregiver shortage and this caregiver, crisis. There we run ads constantly. We put it, say if we get a new position, we may tweak an ad or two just to on Indeed just to fit that criteria. It might be in a certain location, it might be a certain shift, it might have certain things that a general ad doesn't discuss. I mean, doesn't cover. It might because we might be running an ad in a specific community, but we need a caregiver for this specific community or this specific city in our market. So we'll tweak ads to fit those. But we always running like general ads to keep the applications coming in, so we can constantly be hiring, shifting through the good, getting rid of the bad. We have a criteria. You can put a criteria on Indeed where we like to put at least 5 years experience. They haven't had a boatload of jobs, because if you work for every agency in the area, that means you something's wrong. Like why are you switching agency so often, but you're doing the same thing? That's a tall tale sign early. We want to make sure you have certain certain specifications, certain licenses and stuff like that. And Indeed allows you to critique your ad to a specific criteria. So only these people are going to see it. Only these people with these specific qualifications are going to see it, and these are the only applicants that you're going to get coming through your account. And once you get these applications, then you just have someone, either you or someone in your office is going to have to come out with a way with like filtering the good and the bad. And the best way to do it is just start off with basic criteria, like they got to have 5 year experience, they got to have reliable transportation, they can't have worked at more than 5 or 6 agencies in the last 2 or 3 years. um they have to have references, they have to have obviously a background check, but like things like that. And you kind of tweak it the way you want it, because ours is a little strict. Once you get a large database of people, you can kind of, once you feel like you have all your shifts covered and you have a pretty decent amount of people that you can rely on when people call out and stuff like that, you can get it. You can keep making it tighter and tighter, so you can just keep getting the best and best. And the more people you hire, the better you'll understand the type of people you want to hire in the future. You want to look at the people who have these certain qualities, and types of things on in their life, and there's certain things that you don't want to have. We and you got to be careful when it comes to posting certain things because you don't want to be discriminatory. Because you can get in a lot of trouble for posting things like, "Oh, we only want black women in their 40s." You know what I mean? Even though that's a great criteria, black women in their 40s with no kids, live alone, go to church. Like this is the data is telling us these are the best caregivers. But I can't put that in my ad because somebody could ding me for discrimination. So, um, you just want to know the what the criteria is for the better caregivers, and we're going off strict data and our experience. We're going off the data from different studies. They're telling us, okay, out of the top home health care services in America, what is the best? What is the criteria for the best caregivers? And it came back as um, African American women um, in their 40s who attend church. And for some reason that was the best. Over it was a survey done over the top agencies across the country, and that's the criteria that came back. And from our personal experience, we've seen similar criteria for caregivers that that turned out to be great caregivers. And in turn, we kind of look for these people. We figure out ways to go after these people. So after referrals, using sites like Craigslist and Indeed, churches is also another great place to do your recruitment. Um, and when you approach churches, it's pretty a delicate play. So I never recommend anyone to go into churches because of this strategy. This strategy is better. I don't recommend anybody going to churches trying to sell home care. But what I do recommend is that you go into the church and try and post job opportunities or home care opportunities for members of the church. The church staff, the church leadership is going to be a lot more um, receptive to you if you go in there with an opportunity for their members, opposed to you going there trying to sell their members something. And I appreciate that. I understand that they just don't want anybody just because you see the church up there. There's a lot of seniors coming out of it. Now you want to solicit us. No, go in there with an opportunity for employment, and in turn, what usually happens is if they let you put that like a flyer or something up on their boards or some information out there, however they're gonna let you do it, um, that information can in turn to actual leads as well. So when you put an ad in a church for or a flyer in a church for home care workers or caregiver, people who may be in the church that are looking for some extra work and want to work with and want to help out some seniors and give back in a great way. We have some positions available, for seniors in this community. If anybody in any of the members want to take part, they'll see that, and then members will say, "Oh, I don't necessarily want to be a caregiver, but hey, I need one." So they'll call us, and that's how we kind of finesse our way into the churches. But in a roundabout way, we don't go directly into the churches with that mission. But it usually turns into something like that. So you definitely want to position yourself, and to recruit caregivers from churches. See if you could post flyers, and these are some of the top ways to get caregivers in the door, great caregivers in the door. Um, During our recruitment process, we do a series of interviews. We like to do a phone interview now, um, a brief phone interview to just kind of go over the basic things to even though they may have applied online and put the information in, we want to double check. Hey, do you have reliable transportation? Do you have a driver's license? Do you have these? There's certain things that people will just mark on the paperwork on the application, but may not have in reality. Oh, I got reliable transportation. I get an Uber all the time. That's not reliable transportation, you know. Um, so you want to, first we do a phone call to make it clear that they have some of the things that we that are deal breakers. So they have to have certain things. If they don't have those things, we don't go any further in the conversation. We give them an opportunity. Hey, when you get this or that, this and that, give us a call back, and we can, get you to the next step in the hiring process. Next thing, we do a group interview. The group interview is basically us introducing the company, the agency, to the caregivers. We explain to them our culture, what we're doing here, what we believe in, what the expectations are, what the caregiver should expect from us, and what we expect from our caregivers. We discuss pay and how that works, and bonuses, and continued education, and how we show appreciation. We talk about the mentorship program that we have for our caregivers within the agency. How new caregivers get paired with senior caregivers and things like that. And then that's the group interview. And then they fill out all their paperwork in there. They sign all their waivers and consents and all the things for us to do background checks and uh, check their references, drug screening applications and stuff like that. The whole app, the whole all the paperwork that they need for the app for to apply for the position. And then we get their application, their resumes and stuff like that. And based on the phone interview, the documentation, and all the background and the references to get called back, then the third process is a one-on-one interview, and that's if you're hired. If you don't get the one-on-one interview, you're not getting a job. So you didn't make the cut. So we get them to the one-on-one interview. Everything up until that point is good, and then also we don't do a one-on-one interview anyway unless we got a position for them. You know what I mean? Or we got a couple positions ideas for them to run it past them. But once we call them for that third interview, they're pretty much hired, and we're excited to work with them and to get them on board. Um, so that's pretty much how we recruit and hire. That's kind of our process. It's not too complicated, but it does get refined. Like as the more we learn about people and just being better at what we do, and seeing what we can do to make people better, and see the things that we can't help, no matter what they're doing, the more we can critique this process. uh, so I mean, a lot of it, you could take our our method here that I'm sharing with you guys, and try to implement some of the stuff. But you're going to see different things as you go along throughout the process and gain more experience, and find your own way, and in the recruitment process. Once you have great caregivers, now what? How do you keep them? Now that you have now that you have great caregivers, how do you keep them? And the first, again, I always go back to the data. We look at what they call Home Care Pulse releases a benchmark study every year that tells you what's working in the home care and what's not working. And we take this stuff very seriously because we want to see what the top agencies are doing across the country, and that's what their benchmark study releases every year. So, Home Care Pulse benchmark study. You can get this from the Home Care Pulse website, and if you contact them and let them know that there are partners, there are referral partners. So, if you contact Home Care Pulse and say, "Hey, we want the benchmark study, and we referred to you by Alan Cheney," they'll give you a discount. So, just to give you an idea where we get some of the data before we start implementing and using the information. Obviously we already know some of the stuff because we're doing it. It's like you learn certain things, but then when you see what other bigger guys are doing, it gives you just that much more advantage and that just that much more information. And then sometimes it just confirms what you're doing is right. And that's what I always like to see when I go to the benchmark study and I see like some of the things that I was already doing before they even mentioned it. That really makes me feel good because it's like, okay, you on the same page as some of the bigger guys. And when it comes to retention, the number one thing in the study is appreciation. It's not money. It's not bonuses. A lot of people think it is. You're not gonna keep caregivers with money because you can't pay them enough. I mean, it's just not enough. It's not a money. It's not a big money career, and they know that getting into it. Most of the time, they understand that, and they're okay with it, and they're passionate about the work, and they enjoy what they do more than they're looking for money. As far as like trying to move up in the world with a caregiver position. They understand like, okay, if nothing else, it's just a stepping stone. But if it's certain people in certain stages in their life, they're okay with it for the long haul. So either way, they understand that money is not always going to be. You're not going to get the most. You're not going to get. This isn't a high paying job. You know, that's it, and they understand that. And I don't want new agencies to look into this business and say, oh my God, how do I pay these girls? I got to keep them. I got a great client. They only pay me so much. I got a great caregiver, but I really can't afford to pay her anymore because don't drive yourself crazy. She understands the pay rates as a caregiver. They already, if they have some experience and they've been through this. They work these jobs before they understand what the pay is. As long as you're consistent with the market that you're in, you should be fine. Um, there are some other top ways to retain your great caregivers. And again, it's not always money. Money is a part of it, but it's not always money. The number one thing is appreciation. And what does that look like? It's just telling them that constantly reminding them that you appreciate their work, their commitment, their service to the family, and they want to hear that from you, and they want to hear that from the family. So you have to be able to communicate to your clients that, hey, we've been seeing that such and such has been on time. We're really excited about it. The notes have been great. There's been no complaints. There's been actually some compliments. If you can please find it in your instant, find some time to just give her a high five or let her know that you care and you appreciate her work. This helps both of us. This is just a part of the process of keeping her engaged, keeping her feeling good about herself and the work that she's doing. So you not only need to be doing that in your company to the caregivers, but you also need to be communicating that to the clients and their families so they can also give her that appreciation as well. Sometimes you could do it as a phone call. Sometimes you could write a formal letter with your friend from the company and send it to them. Sometimes you can just send a text message, a text message. I'm just saying, just showing your appreciation, show the company's appreciation. Like all these little small pieces of, appreciation build up and make them feel good about themselves. Your job as a leader is to make your staff feel good about themselves. If they don't feel good about themselves, they're not going to perform at their highest potential. They don't feel like they have anything to work for. And some people, most people, I mean, all people, like praise and like to want to be appreciated, and it's just that simple. Um, you can't always give money, but you can give bonuses. You know what I mean? Like you probably can't afford to give them an extra dollar or extra 50 cents an hour, you know, right off the bat, but you want to show some kind of appreciation because again, you've been seeing that they've been doing a great job, and you want to do something for them. Give them a cash bonus, give them a gift card, $50, uh, $25, anything. It's just the fact that you went out your way to do something on top of their normal paycheck that they appreciate it, and that you see that they're excited about working with them, and you appreciate them working for you guys, and you're excited to you feel good about them, and you're willing to show it. So, yes, bonuses, just cash bonuses, gift cards, stuff like that, are another great way to um, show your appreciation and retain your client caregivers. We are in the process of working with a new company called Zestful. Zestful is a they're calling themselves an employee. They call themselves the ultimate employee. Let me get it, pull them up here. They call themselves the ultimate employee. Uh, I want to get it right. Excuse me for this. I should have had this pulled up a little sooner. But basically, what it is a debit card that you can load with different products and programs. So you can create a program um, for your stat. So first off, Zestful is like a debit card that you can put bonuses on there from different places uh, online, like different things that's online. So like for instance, you can have Zestful pay their Netflix bill. So like okay, you could put Netflix on there. You could put fitness and health on there. You could put it's like a gift card for everybody that most people use nowadays. So you could put like and you can allocate certain amounts of money to it. So like okay, I'm gonna put $50 worth of entertainment on there, and then $50 worth of food and drink. So like they can use $50 at on Netflix, Hulu, iTunes, Spotify, or they can use $50 in fitness and health, or they can use $50 worth of food and drink, Starbucks, Chipotle, stuff like that. So basically, it's just a card that you give to your your staff members, and they gain rewards they get rewards every month. So you can do things for like birthdays, anniversaries, basic bonuses. That's like a reward just if you want to do it. And there's just so many things that so many different uh companies and things, Airbnb that Zestful is connected with, that you can pass on to your employees. It's just a great tool for them to say, hey, look, I've done great this week, I've done great this month, I've done great this quarter. My company just loaded my Zestful card with 150 extra bucks, just employee perks and gym memberships. They can spend it on whatever they want, and you can also put what you want on there. So if things that you feel like that may be good for them and relevant for them, you can put it on there. So it's just not as simple as giving cash. Cash is cool, but cash is just boring. Zestful kind of makes it exciting, gives them something to look forward to, different programs and stuff like that. So um, that's a new tool that we're implementing, and I'm really feel good about it so far. So just check it out. It's called Zestful, ZESTFUL.com. And they're calling themselves the ultimate employee perks, the employee benefits or employee perks company now, because they're it's just tech meeting technology. People are using leveraging technology to better serve different aspects of the employment process, so and retention process. So check it out, and you should enjoy it. And if you can afford it, you get $5 a card, so it's only $5 per card, so it's pretty inexpensive. And I feel like it's a great way to keep your caregivers engaged, keep them excited, keep them in keep them in the ecosystem. Another thing that we feel is important for continued education. I mean, another for retention is continued education, allowing them to become more more educated in the medical field or in the healthcare field, and become better caregivers. One thing that we're doing with the people the staff who's working at our assisted living facilities, our homes, is that we're giving them the opportunity to take the manager's course, the assisted living manager's course, which is $1,000 course, mostly in Maryland, is what you're going to pay upwards of 1,000. If you get any, maybe 800. But it's 1,000. It's usually $1,000 course, and it's 80-hour training. But with this training, and then working at our facility, we would prefer um, we would prefer to have trained managers, even though that's not going to bump you up into a manager. you know, you still have the training of a manager, and if something day to day is going on and our manager isn't available, or our alternate manager isn't can't get right to it, you're you have a trained caregiver, a caregiver who is trained in that same manager's course and who has the same understanding of what needs to be going on in that facility. So that's a bonus that we give the caregivers who we choose to work in our facilities. And obviously, we get them opportunities in the future to become managers, assistant managers of properties that we're working on or properties that they're currently working in. And see, one thing Maryland likes to do is they like to pop up on you, and that was the big reason why I said, I want everybody to be trained as a manager. So when the pop up does occur, the state does pop into your facility, it'll just lessen the deficiencies, because your caregiver is trained. Once she's a manager, once she has the same training as a manager, she knows how to manage the documentations, manage the house, understands all the paperwork, all the language, and everything like that. Opposed to just a caregiver who just feels like, okay, she only knows this is stuff that she's doing, and this is all she knows. We give them an opportunity to become more informed and more involved in the assisted living manager in the assisted living facility, period. So not only is that a great value add for them, you got free just from working with our company, you got this certification, you got potential growth potential in the company, and um when you leave, after, because to take the program, we want to we got you sign a contract for at least for a specific amount of time before you can just leave. Because with that training, you can leave the company and go somewhere else and get a great paying job, just much more money than the caregiver. So, continue education, creating bigger opportunities for your staff and your caregivers, and it's a great way to keep them, the good ones. A great way to keep the good ones. And these are senior caregivers that you're doing these programs with. These aren't people who just walking in the door. These are people who've proven themselves over time to be consistent, reliable, hard workers, going above and beyond, things of that nature. There's also the Institute of Professional Care Education. It's called IPCED.com, the Institute of Professional Care Education. And that's another continued education source that you can plug your caregivers into. I think it's like $100 per caregiver. No, per 10 caregivers. Well, it was when we got on in the contract we signed. So it might went up a little bit, but so every 10 caregivers cost you about $100, but they get access to like thousands of hours of training. So they can get all this training on dementia, diet, Parkinson, Alzheimer's, different safety, psychology, activities. It's just like, so I can't. It's so much that you wouldn't believe it. And you say, why would you be so? What do you gain from, providing all these trainings to your staff? It should be obvious. It should be obvious that if you have a more trained staff, you have a better, that benefits your clients. And you got to remember your caregivers. You're in home care means you're in the caregiver business. So the better trained, the better prepared, the more experienced your caregivers are, the better your service will be, and the more service hours you can book. So, and you can attain. So I just put up their site real quick. They have dementia care certifications, diabetes care certifications, Parkinson, multiple sclerosis, mental health, developmental disability, post hospital care certifications, end of life. So it's just going to give your caregiver this whole new understanding and level of training that you may learn some of the stuff as you're doing the business, as you're in the industry, but you're not going to have like certifications to specify in specific things. And you actually get certificates from the institute. They send you certificates, and these are certifications and certificates that you can show families who may be dealing with a family member, a loved one who has multiple sclerosis. Hey, look, our caregivers are trained and specialized in multiple sclerosis. They have this certification here. They're trained and they specialize. They took a 12-hour program for Parkinson's on top of their other certification, their general certification. They have these specialty certifications to better help your family member in this particular with this particular issue. So I highly recommend the Institute of Professional Care Education, and again, we're partners with them as well. So just reach out to them and let them know that you're working with Alan Cheney, and they'll give you a discount on your program. Another great tool for retaining great caregivers is a mentorship program. So what does a mentorship program look like when it comes to caregivers? Your senior caregivers are basically going to mentor your new caregivers. The people who have been there are going to, and when I say senior, I don't want to make it sound like they're old, because all of them aren't necessarily old, but they're senior because they've been in the company for a while. And then the newer recruits are paired with a senior caregiver and mentor. What does that mentorship look like? It's really just giving them someone in the company that they can reach out to, ask questions, um, ask questions to, just basic stuff about like the care that the particular that they may be given a particular family. They can talk to them about that. Some of the things that they're having trouble with. Some of the things that they feel like we could probably do better in. So they could just kind of communicate with that caregiver. And also the caregiver is going to be giving them feedback and kind of checking in on them on a weekly basis for a specific amount of time, so to make sure that they're adjusting to the to the case well, or the cases, and just to the company overall, that they're doing having a great adjustment and on boarding process. So that's pretty much the particulars of what the mentorship looks like. And what the senior mentor, we give her a specific bonus for every person that she mentors for like the first um 45 45 to 60 days, depending on how much we feel like the new caregiver needs. And what that also does, it starts to develop a bond, and the caregivers begin to work together and help each other. And you kind of create a team environment where they're working together, helping each other, to giving great feedback, and just having a positive exchange and communication with each other. Because I mean, if you're a caregiver and you worked in facilities before, or with different companies, you know how the caregivers can kind of start having bad vibes towards each other and stuff like that. So we try to nip that in the bud in the beginning. And then also we want to make sure that they understand that they're working on a team. And when you're working on a team, we got your back, you got our backs. And that's also what we're trying to create with the mentor program. So definitely think about something like that when when you're thinking about how to keep great caregivers. Once people feel like they're part of something, they operate a little different. They give a little more. They try a little harder when they know there's some type of level of support, of a support system, and also accountability. So Some of the things we suggest you don't do is hire friends, get too personal, break your own company rules for a specific caregiver, mess up, play with the money, play with payroll, like, to be changing the days, or, in the beginning it's going to be tough to always have that money ready because you're just trying to run your business, operate your business. You cannot, by no standard, mess with their money, because people are just, it's the first time it happens, they're just gonna look totally dead. They're gonna look at you like it's just totally unprofessional. Because big companies, it happens, but it doesn't happen often. And when you're a startup, people really are worried about you. So they if they see it happen, they're gonna probably start making other arrangements. Even if you give them, say like payday was on Friday, and they didn't get their check till Monday because the funds weren't available for whatever reason, they're gonna start making other arrangements to look for a job. They might not say nothing in the beginning, but they're gonna start looking for other positions. They're gonna start looking elsewhere for job. Um, don't hire friends. I know a lot of people are. Um, if you're a caregiver and you're starting a business, or you're in the healthcare field and you're starting a business, other caregivers, other people who you've worked with, and you may have family and friends and stuff like that who are caregivers. Do not, I repeat, do not hire your friends. Do not hire your family. Do not hire people that you've worked with in the past, um, that you have some kind of personal relationship with. It will not work. It may feel good in the beginning. Hey, you just want to, do this, and that with your homies and all that. Man, that is the quickest way to, start arguments, entitlement, jealousy. People are gonna start, if they see, and if you start winning, they're gonna, their whole attitudes are gonna change, and it's nothing you could do about it. It's just human nature. So the best thing to do is just keep it professional. Hire people through the recruitment ways, through the proper recruitment channels, and that's it. I don't even want to. I don't. I'm gonna tell you like this: hiring family and friends is a no-no. We learned that very early on. Um, my ex-wife was a caregiver for thousands, it's like 15, 20 years, it seemed like. So she knew, every even when we moved to new communities, if she got a position or worked for an agency, her name would be everywhere. She would know everybody because she was just that good. But then also she met a lot of people like that. So what she would think was okay. Okay, I met her at this agency. I met her at this agency. Let's bring her in. They worked with you as a caregiver. They respected you as a caregiver and stuff like that. They didn't you didn't approach that relationship as an employer, as their manager, as their boss. So they're not gonna just be able to drop the old stuff that you done told them about all your life, your personal business, the problems you got with your boyfriend and all that, and then just forget all that and then just be your boss. I mean, be their employee. They're gonna bring that luggage with them. You know what I mean? Same with family, same with friends. Like they're gonna bring that luggage with them. So just to avoid it, to just deal with the conversation up front. Do not hire friends. Do not get personal with people that you do hire, and you'll do great. Don't break your own company rules for certain people for this particular reason. Stick to your policies, and you know, as long as they're fair, you'll do fine. Don't play with anybody's money, and also don't overlook clear signs of don't overlook the signs. So if somebody's showing you, it may be little subtle signs, like they may be like 5, 10 minutes late over and over and over. Like this person isn't serious about getting to work on time. And I mean, and that's one of the major things about home care is you. So there's a few things that you definitely have to make sure your caregivers are doing. Being at work on time and not playing and not having their phones. We have we had implemented a new strict no phone during work hours policy. You cannot. I don't want the phone to come out of your pocket. I don't even want that. If it was up to me, you couldn't take the phone in the house. So because clients are complaining about caregivers, how much time caregivers are spending on the phone, and what these caregivers fail to realize, even when it came, like at this point now, all of our clients have cameras, and that's just the way it is now. Obviously, they have to tell us where the cameras at. They can't have them in weird places like bathrooms and stuff like that. But they have cameras. They have cameras of outside of their home, and they have cameras most of the time inside of their home, watching their loved one during the day while they're at work. And they will see you on your phone. You know what I mean? And they will look at the time, amount of time that you spend on your phone. Like, and sometimes I feel like the caregivers don't, they forget that the cameras are in there, and they just sit on their phone for 20, 30 minutes straight. You know what I mean? And it's just like the family is looking at you. That's a problem. And you can't overlook that stuff. It happens once, okay, boom. You say something, you document it. It happens again, boom. And like I can't break my rules to fit your particular, situation, and I can't overlook this because if you're doing it now and you only just started, I can only imagine the type of stuff you feel like, once you feel like you locked in and you entitled because of the position that you're going to be doing. You know what I mean? So we can't overlook the signs. We gotta address it early, but we don't. We want to address it early, be firm, but allow people to make a few mistakes, but consistent mistakes, you don't want it to affect you, and you definitely, the worst thing that can happen is a bad caregiver can make you lose a client. And that's the worst feeling in the world. So um whatever is going on, be communicating with your caregivers, communicating with your clients, and getting a feel for their satisfaction, the things that they're not excited about. You want to pull that out because you don't want it to get to a point where even if they're saying, "Oh, we're great, we're great," but please let me know if there's anything small, the most minute thing that you're not excited about with our care. Or the caregivers, maybe not getting, as quick enough, or just, we just want to be as attentive as possible to your needs, to your family, to your loved ones' needs. Um, so that does not occur. So your caregiver don't, because the family will not say certain things, and they just like let it slide, let it slide, and then you'll get a call saying, "Hey, we no longer want to use your service," and you be like, "What the hell just happened?" And then they tell you in that phone call, that when you call them, "Hey, what's going on?" They got this laundry list of things that the caregiver's been doing. She's been coming in late. She's been doing this and this and that. That she's been sitting on her phone. She hasn't been doing it, and it's like, damn, how could we have figured this out way before? And that's our job as a company to figure this out way before it gets to this point. So there has to be a lot of oversight. You have to have a strong communication, a strong line of communication with the caregivers and the clients, and you have to be asking the clients the right questions. You have to be talking to them about things that, um, asking them things that's, are they satisfied? You have to call them monthly, bi-weekly. Hey, we just calling in, just kind of checking in, make sure everything's all right. Is there anything that we could do to make it better? Like, you have to be saying these things, and to get to pull out the information. So, and again, this is just, don't overlook the clear signs of, of what your caregiver is doing. And it's just not always negative. Don't overlook the clear signs of good behavior as well. Don't overlook it. Oh, she did something great. Or the family say something. Oh, she's doing this great. We really enjoy it. Don't overlook that. You translate that to the caregiver as soon as you get the information, and you let them know that they're doing great. The family loves them, and you figure out a way to reward that behavior. And again, it doesn't have to always be money. It could be just different things, appreciation, employee of the month, things of that nature. But you have to, you know, address the clear signs early, good or bad. Um, what we like to do is set goals with the caregivers. The family might have, so when we're signing up a family, say, what are the goals for this, your loved one? What are some things that you would like to see? Oh, I would like to see my mom be a little bit more active, doing, walking around a little bit more, working her mind, not just sitting there drooling, watching the TV. I want to see her doing some playing some games, reading, getting some books read to her, stuff like that. Whatever it may be, these are some of the goals. These are the goals. So you take this, and then you set goals with the caregiver. Okay, so we want this amount of time to be allotted to reading, this time to playing board games, this amount of time, walking around the home, or this amount of time in, strolling through the neighborhood, maybe in a wheelchair, walk, if the weather's permitting. These are some of the things. If you get outings, things like that, if you want to go to the hairdresser, things like that, like so, the caregiver has not only just the day-to-day things that you normally do when you get to a job. You also have goals, and then once you set these goals, now they have something to look forward to, and now you have something to, to hold them accountable to. And it's just a great thing to do. And you set the goals with the family, and then you set them with the caregiver. You don't so give her a laundry list of things. Hey, do this. No, these are the goals. Let's figure out, if you're going to be there for 4, 6, 8, 12 hours a day, you know, this should be done between this and that, this time, this time. So outside of just the basic ADLs, the other goals that the family may want, the other things that the family may want for that loved one, you set those goals with your caregivers, and this creates, again, uh, um, some accountability for the caregiver, and then also the family can see it in the notes and stuff like that, that it's outlined, and they can see the progress that's being made. Now mom isn't so down, or isn't so, restless at night because she had a pretty active day, or she's a little bit more upbeat because they had some, they did some card games, or they played a game, they played a board game, or she got out and got into the good weather, or she went to a adult daycare where, she was able to play some bingo and stuff like that. Things that they weren't able to do because obviously their families aren't available. They could see the difference in mom or dad because, you set these goals with your caregiver, and you're accomplishing these goals, and they're seeing the progress. Um, I know most people say, you want to pop up on your caregivers so you can catch them doing something wrong. You want to kind of turn that, and when you do your routine your non-routine pop-ups, well, we do have people that just pop up at different clients' homes. You want to catch them doing something right, so it kind of changes the atmosphere. You don't want to say, oh, I caught you, while you was on your phone, boom boom. you be more interested in trying to catch them doing something wrong, something right. And if you do pop on them and you do see something, hey, I'm glad that I caught you doing something right. I feel good about that. Blah 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 blah. That's a better environment that you create, and it's just you're trying to see what they're doing. The goal of doing pop ups doesn't change, but the language isn't, hey, I'm trying to catch you doing something wrong, and you just kind of like overlooking it, making sure that everything is cool. Hey, I'm just here trying to catch you doing something right. I just wanted to make sure, I knew you. I had great confidence that you was gonna be doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you were. We caught you doing something right. Boom. That's a check mark in your favor, and we're gonna document that. Um, that's something that, and again, this is just a little idea of how you change the atmosphere, keep it more on a positive team vibe, opposed to like a boss employee, you looking over me and trying to catch me doing something wrong, and it just creates a negative environment. And when you do have to say something negative, or quote unquote negative, you want to always sandwich it with the positive. What does that mean? You caught them on their phone, or the camera may have said something, seeing that they were on their phone for a little more than what you felt comfortable with, or the family feels comfortable with, and you get that information. But they've been doing good stuff. They're doing a great job. So you just don't want to say, hey, look, we did the family saying that they saw you on the camera, um, using your phone a little bit longer than they felt comfortable that you should have, and at this particular time. That's bad. We can't have you on the phone. You got to keep your phone put up, blah, blah, blah. That's one way of doing it. But if you sandwich the negative, you say, hey, look, the family really likes you, having you there. They're excited about you. They appreciate all the things you're doing with their loved one. But the phone thing, they had an issue with it. They saw you with the camera, boom, 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 boom. They're uncomfortable with it. They felt like you was on it for an extended amount of time, that just felt, that they're uncomfortable with. And our policy about that. But we want to remind you, the family really likes what you're doing with them. The she's been eating well, she's been hydrated. So you open up with something positive, you get what you have to say about the negative, and then you close with something positive to make them feel good about themselves. You don't want to just tear somebody down and not give them something, to feel good about it. So it's not just like I'm always just harping on you. Whenever you have to say something, it's gonna make them feel kind of, when you kind of tear them down a little bit, you're gonna you want to sandwich that with two positive things to say about them, so they just don't walk away just feeling terrible. The problem was addressed, and they still feel good about themselves. And then another thing that you have to do when it comes to your caregivers and any staff member and anything that goes on in your company, you have to document everything. You have to document. The good and the bad, you definitely the bad incidents and things that, like with that little small incident about her phone, you got to document it. You got to put an incident report, date, time, locations, the people involved, everything like that into that incident report and put it in their file, the good and the bad. Because when it's time to promote them, or they start asking about more money, raises and stuff like that, we're gonna go to them documents. We're gonna every 90 days we're gonna go to them documents and look at what you've been doing, bonuses, um, the negative things we got to discuss. Maybe we gonna cut your hours back, something. But every or you even might get terminated based on them documentation, and you can't just be firing people. Like a lot of times when we was early on in the company, we would just be like, man, this person, you done, you fired. And it's like, okay, you can't just do that. You have to document things. You have to have supporting documents to terminate someone, or they can come back at you. You know what I mean? So make sure you're documenting everything, the good and the bad. And just some quick things to think about before I jump off of here. Birthday cards. Always, when you obviously when they're applying, you're gonna get their birthday. Make sure you send in your caregivers birthday cards. Even if you don't have to always put money in it. Don't feel like everything is about money. It's just about appreciation and recognition. So you want to make sure you send in birthday cards, holiday cards. We like to give turkeys away on Thanksgiving, and we like to do Christmas bonuses. Um, these are just some stuff to keep, give you some ideas. Maybe you can come up with some other stuff based around, some of these ideas. And you want to create a support system and a team mindset. You want to let them know that they're part of the team, and how the team wins. The goal of the team is to provide the best service to the seniors that are in our care possible, and we want to expand that the best we can. And you have us; we depend on you, and you can depend on us. There are going to be times where your caregiver things come up in everyone's life. Um, Things with children, things with family members, illnesses, things like that. You you want to be there for them. If they're not doing it every day, obviously, and they just requested like a random day off, like, hey, look, I can't get in this, something's going on here, boom, boom, my family, my car. Give them that. Be supportive. Um, don't always, make them feel terrible because life happened. Now there's a difference between that when people start doing it every day. Like one girl, her tire was flat like once a week. So I'm like, I didn't believe her after a certain amount of time. So you just have to use your own judgment, obviously, and pay attention to the signs. But then also you do want to create a support system. You want them to be able to depend on you, look to the company as a place for them to find appreciation, recognition, in a team, family-like environment. Because believe it or not, we're as employees, as companies, we're their extended family because they're spending just as much time or even more time with us than they are with their own family. So we got to keep that in mind. So that's it for today. I just wanted to kind of talk about some of the things when it comes to caregivers. Hopefully, this was a great podcast for you. And again, check out our website, allencheney.com. We got some great programs on